Just want to say before the show starts, The Troy Show is a listener discretion advised show. We're fair, we're balanced here, everyone gets a voice. We can't quite control exactly what that voice is going to be, so please keep that in mind as you listen to the show. Any business or organization mentioned on the show is not a sponsor of The Troy Show, nor is it affiliated unless otherwise stated. The Troy Show is not an official representation of the city of Troy, Ohio, USA, or the government thereof. This is Troy on Air. Well, we have a huge week ahead of us now to break down here on the April 6th, 2020 Troy Show. As huge news has unfolded. In fact, right now I'm getting handed even more breaking news as we sit here. Well, this just in, the mayor has just found out that germs are on the playground. Breaking news, germs are found on the playground. We'll have more on this later in the show. This has been your cliche breaking news segment. All right, so the big story of the week coming up first. I want to get to this. We all know the Troy Strawberry Festival is what wants to be talked about tonight. Everyone's going to be discussing it. Officially canceled coming out this week, that they have officially canceled, I believe, the 43rd annual Troy Strawberry Festival. And hopefully the audio is coming through. If you want to be a part of the show tonight, 937-696-7572. We've got it on the lower third on our live Facebook video feed if you need that number at any point. Maybe if you're listening in the background. We have changed some audio settings around, so I hope everything is coming through crystal clear as we broadcast the show tonight. We are on day 14 since Mike DeWine has shut anything down. Day 20 of the Troy State of Emergency and day 14 of our Coronacation. Whatever day we're on, we're going to get a counter up for this as well for the construction on the old tavern building or the old Ladou's building. Still underway. We're waiting on that. It's about 6 parking spots, which thankfully no one needs right now. But as soon as we get the economy and the city rolling again, hopefully they'll get those things back up and running. But we are now on to, I believe, January 17th, I want to say, is when that tornado went through. That is where we are officially at on the count there. So we're going to get a counter up for that one as well. Hopefully the audio is all coming through tonight. I had to switch some things up and rewire some stuff here in the Troy Show studio. Speaking of things under construction, this is our first one of the night. Work has begun on the historic downtown Troy building. After 4.5 years of planning, securing funding, and meeting approval processes from the city and state, Troy Community Works is thrilled to announce that the renovation work is now underway for the iconic Coleman Allen Settlement building. The Koss building, well known as the old David Shoes building, is located at 1 East Main Street and is one of the corner anchors of the downtown Troy Public Square. They're referring to the building that now houses Grandpa Joe's at the bottom of it. Their plans with this one, from what I could gather, is basically this will be done by Level MB Construction, are the architects and contractors of this. A lot of other hands in play here to get this building renovated. That corner, where most of the tornado damage was sustained as far as the downtown is concerned, where some of the worst, has needed this for a while now, and I've heard talks about this. Level MB are the same people that had some hands in the apartment buildings over by the post office, the new ones, you know, the ones that are like $1,500 a month for a single bedroom. I don't know, the size of a kitchen maybe. That's about all you get. But I think they're banking on the doctors for that one, for the new Kettering Hospital, because I sure am not paying $1,500 a month for a single bedroom in Troy. But they are nice. I mean, they're nice. This just isn't New York. But they are the ones behind this as well. It's a lot of other hands. I mean, there's a whole list here of people renovating the buildings. They're still doing construction on the glass ceiling that the mayor broke back in January. But we'll get an update on that as well. But that corner has needed this for a very long time, and I'm glad that they're finally getting around to it. I think that tornado was a wake-up call for the downtown and a lot of the history society around here to make some action. I love scenic buildings. I love historic buildings. I think we can probably maintain these for quite some time to come. Maybe it'll be 300 years, but one day these buildings will no longer exist. It just won't be feasible. They'll have to be rebuilt in some manner, maybe still hearkening back to their historic roots. But already so many of these buildings have undergone maintenance. Now they're trying to stick to a theme here. They're going to be using navy blue and gold accents throughout the outer paint scheme of the building, simply for the fact that they want to honor some of the Civil War era-esque history behind it. I think the navy blue part, they kind of put two and two together and said, well, this will be great for our our community colors that we, the total cost was $63,000 on the community color changes. So they're redoing that building. If you've been downtown here recently, if you've ventured out of your homes, because we all know, as I look out the window, everyone's staying inside. I say that in jest. Of course, traffic has just been as it always has. Only the interstates have suffered from this. Traffic has just been normal here in Troy. People have to keep living their lives. I don't blame them one bit. But you might have seen the Caroline building over there, as I like to call it. Everyone has different names for these buildings down here because God knows there's been so many different people in and out of them and changing of hands of the buildings. But the Caroline building, those guys were efficient on top of that thing. They were just pulling shingles off and redoing it as they went along. They had 4 giant lifts, 2 on each side of the building, as they were getting supplies to the top of it. It was great to see that finally this week, getting around to that building. The one over, I gotta stop saying as much. It's a very unprofessional broadcast term is You're supposed to be a master of words. Branch out. But the one over in the corner where the shoe store is, Ruby's Salon, Tokyo Peking, that one's been under construction for a while. I'm kind of doing a countdown to see who finishes first. Right now, my money's on the Caroline building getting finished first. My money's definitely on the Tavern building, the old Ladou's building, being finished last. I'm going to say this one's going to come in a close second. And we might see a little bit of a battle between these two corners here. They're supposed to be putting apartments up above the white ones, redoing everything, the white building over there. It used to be the old Obama headquarters back in 2008. It might have been in 2012 as well. I can't remember which election cycle that was. I know they had the big Obama banner out there at one point, the big Obama signs. So work has begun. Everything is moving efficiently here in downtown. Everyone's still rolling along on these construction projects as we have this stay-at-home order, which has now been increased to May 1st. Schools still shut down till May 1st. I've seen some reports of local areas, people around us throughout the nation, shutting down their schools just for the rest of the year. They're just giving up, saying we're done, shut it down. School's over for the year. Now, how this is going to affect the kids, I don't know. I don't know at all. But we will find out. We'll see what I'm getting messages here on Facebook, and I'm trying to keep up with all of them. I had to, as part of redoing everything tonight, I'm kind of in disarray at the moment. But if you want to join in on the show, share it around. That's facebook.com/Beautiful Troy Show. If you want to join the Troy, Ohio Citizens 2.0 group, maybe you can't get everything said tonight in the call that you wanted to say, simply swing over to our Troy, Ohio Citizens 2.0 group at facebook.com/groups/Troy, Ohio Citizens. And the call-in line tonight, as always, 937-696-7572. I'm just kind of checking in on the audio real quick because I don't have anyone tonight to verify anything right now as far as the audio goes. But we will find out. We'll go ahead and break into the Strawberry Festival cancellation. So it was announced earlier this week that the Troy Strawberry Festival was going to be canceled. The 43rd annual Strawberry Festival going to be canceled. As reported by TroyDailyNews.com, TDN/net.com, the Troy Strawberry Festival Incorporated Board of Directors announced Friday morning that based on an abundance of caution, it will cancel the 2020 festival. The Troy Area Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Kathy Roeder said the committee made the decision due to feedback and concerns from vendors and nonprofits for buying products to prepare for the festival. We have a clip of her right here, as I need to check the show notes for it. I do apologize for this. I mean, this is probably the most unprofessional way to go about doing a show, but I mean, we slammed everything together at the last minute here because we have been sifting through articles all day, compiling this. I mean, this stack is the largest it's been in now the 4 weeks of doing this show. I threw a couple in there from last week that I missed as well. But as always with the show notes, we have them in the show description of every posted show. You can go and check them out for yourself and follow along with me once the show is posted. If you don't get to the live show, once we post the show, we have all of the show notes right there for you. It's clip 18 is what I want to go to. Let's see. This is Kathy Roeder talking about the cancellation of the Troy Strawberry Festival as interviewed by Steve Baker from WHIO.
We've been planning for a while, but with the stay-at-home order, it's too hard to continue to plan and work with the volunteers. We have nonprofits that had already actually canceled because they're concerned about their losses and having to go ahead and order products. So I do think it's the right decision.
Now, in the next clip here, she continues on with a couple more reasons how this is going to impact going forward with the festival.
We have to do what is safest for the community. And right now, planning a festival that would bring 150,000 to 175,000 people downtown just doesn't seem like the right thing.
This is a huge crowd draw, and everyone's going to be disappointed and bummed out about this. But she, Kathy Roeder, I believe, has listed one of the best reasons as to why they had to cancel this event. And I've been thinking this for a while. I was waiting for the news to drop that the Strawberry Festival would be canceled. We'll weigh in with your thoughts tonight. 937-696-7572 is the number to call in. BeautifulTroyShow@gmail.com if you've got some thoughts on this matter. We've got some fan reactions as well from our Troy Show page. But she says this is due to everyone not being able to meet, not being able to plan things out because of this social distancing era that we're in right now. That's the issue that everyone's having. All the nonprofits, all the funding, all the money is having to be dumped into sustaining themselves because they don't have the ability to make any revenue right now because everything's shut down or the nonprofits are dishing out money elsewhere for charities. The list goes on. And I knew that was the reason. I knew when predicting that this was going to get shut down, and I am predicting all throughout summer, major events far past the stay-at-home order as of right now. There are reports and rumors popping up now that DeWine wants to extend this thing to June 30th because they can't make up their mind on exactly when the peak will happen or the curve, whatever. That's all been proven to be just bogus modeling. We're getting those reports in now, as I figured we would. But the mayor's out there. She's got her mask on, her Troy, Ohio mask. So the festival is canceled not because of the gathering of people. The festival is canceled for the sole reason that there's not going to be any money to pull out of this thing. If we do get out of this stay-at-home order, do you think people are just going to return to life as usual in Troy? They're not going to just return to life as usual in Troy. The reason being is they don't have any money and they still have to pay the water bill when they get out of this thing. Do you think anyone's going to want to go buy a $50 craft piece of wood, says, God bless this home or this mess or whatever, and put it on their front porch from the festival? Do you think they're going to want to buy expensive festival food? Do you think they're going to want to be around people after this? Because the effects of these stay-at-home orders will linger throughout the summer, probably returning in the fall. Not the virus. I don't know. Viruses come and they go. Strains pop up, strains go down. I'm talking about people's reaction to this. They've been so scared and so panicked now into believing this thing is so much more than it is. There's no possible way they could sustain the festival. Now, some people were saying, well, they're going to have to cancel the festival in 2021 because they won't have the funds from this year's festival to do the next one, which is silly. We all know that any funds that they still have left after this ordeal will just go to 2021. There's some question about the themes, if the themes are still going to be prevalent I believe, what was it, Peace, Love, and Berries this year, something like that. If they're going to keep that theme or if they're just going to skip it and do another one. If they're going to call, I would assume they would call the next one the 43rd and not skip like an Android phone, like a Samsung or an iPhone. In naming their models, I'd assume it'd still be called the 43rd because it would be the 43rd in 2021. A lot of weird questions going around about the festival. No one seems to be getting to the point like Kathy Roeder did, which is there's no money. No one's going to want to go get in a herd a month after we get this stay-at-home order thing over with, assuming we do. No one's going to want to spend the money that they're going to be recovering, paying out to the city on their water bill. And no one's going to want to congregate like this. Now, I think the festival, this is a good chance to take a year off and just replan this thing. The hashtag's already started. What was it? Take it back to the levee. Take it to the Troy Parks. The levee was all well and good, in my opinion. I liked it being on the levee. At first, I was skeptical when they brought it to the downtown, the impact that will happen. But throughout the summer, they shut the downtown down like it's candy. Like nothing's going on. Like there's not a state route that runs through our town. They just shut it down whenever. They don't do warnings. They don't put those things far enough back. Something that really drives me nuts is when the festival and any other event they have, and maybe this is something we can change this year, is right where this studio's located. There's Cherry Street out here. They always put the closed signs at Cherry Street because that's where they close it off. Most of the time. The festival, they usually put them out another street. And they do give a couple warnings. My problem is the little events throughout the summer. They need to have those warnings way back at the interstate because this is a truck route through here. These trucks are not meant to navigate these back roads. They need to have them pulling way off or find a way around on 25A and rework that. Something to think about while we're taking this year off of events pretty much. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the summer is pretty much canceled other than maybe small music get-togethers and whatnot. By the way, these people are just panicking and they can't make up their mind on when this thing will peak, but the numbers are already lower than their models are predicting. The actual numbers that come in. So the festival is canceled this year, not due to large amounts of people coming. It's because no one's going to have any money to rebound after this thing, and no one's going to have any interest in getting in a large crowd. And all of the businesses are not going to want to pay, from what I've heard, the absurd cost to rent a tent and a spot in the festival. And to go along with, what was it, Pepsi they had come in? I think it was Pepsi they had come in. That pretty much ruined a lot of the fun the vendors could have with their pricing on drinks. It was pretty much, if you don't want to go along with the Pepsi thing, to just get out. There used to be places that sold cans of pop. They'd go out to Walmart, they'd buy cases of them, and they'd sell them for 50 cents a, excuse the pun, pop. But then Pepsi came in and you got to charge $1.50, something absurd for these things. And I know people say, well, it brings more money in. And nonprofits, that's what it's all about. It's all about the nonprofits. The festival's all about the nonprofits. Well, the nonprofits are hurting just as much as everyone else in this ordeal. So it is a shame. It's unfortunate. I wanted to see the Strawberry Festival this year. It's a coming of the season. It sneaks up on you so quick. I'm always surprised when the Strawberry Festival rolls into town. It just kind of hits me off guard, and it's a fun time. It's a fun 2 or 3 days. But it would be pointless, honestly, because no one right now wants a microphone shoved in their face. So even if we wanted to do anything with the show, no one wants a microphone shoved in their face. There's a lot of little areas as we continue this shutdown, this absurd shutdown, that we are noticing little things affected here and there. So the festival, this was reported on by everyone. Troy Daily News, WHIO, WDTN. But Kathy Roeder sums it up for everybody there. And they're going to work on next year's. The festival will be around. But let's go to some citizen reactions from our Facebook page, facebook.com/Beautiful Troy Show. Lauren says, unfortunate, sad, and necessary. Chris says, haven't cared about it since they done away with the parade and bed races. It's the other thing. This festival is still huge. I don't know how this festival draws, well, from what they say, like 125,000 to 175,000 people over the 3-day period, technically 2 days. I don't know how it draws that many people. I remember going to this thing as a kid, and it just seemed more fun. It seemed more loose. Now it seems like the only people that kind of thrive in the festival are those little trinket shops. I went around looking Be damned if I could find a strawberry pie there last year. Took forever. I don't even know if I found one. I think I went down to when it was Ordings still, which I'll probably always call it Ordings, and that's where I got the pie from. No major loss not finding one at the festival. The pies down there are superior anyway, but usually you can walk around on the last day closer to 6 o'clock when it usually closes, and you can find some pretty good deals, people trying to get rid of some inventory, and they'll cut those things prices in half, sometimes 75% off. I mean, you can do some amazing bartering. Twiggy says, hard to imagine Troy not having this festival at all. Yeah, I know I have some disagreements with it and some of the atmospherical stuff that goes on with the festival. It's not quite the same as it used to be. They need to get a little bit of the corporate stuff out of there, or some of the restrictions and regulations out of the way for some of these vendors. But I still really enjoyed it. It's hard to imagine Troy, after 43 years now, which would have been 43 years, having 42 of these things. It's hard to imagine it without it. Growing up with it now for 23 years, it's hard to imagine it without it. Morgan says, I'm upset because it's a tradition that kicks off summer. It's always been something to look forward to, despite the downtown traffic. Yes, it gets messy, but it's a fun event to enjoy. Yeah, the traffic with the festival is usually pretty negatable. Something to that size, I don't mind too much them shutting the town down. But when they do like a concert on Prouty Plaza and they want to put a couple chairs in the circle, and that's the only reason, just push it back. You'll be fine. April says, I'm upset. It's the only big moneymaker for the Troy Band. They are short on funds right now and didn't make as much as they typically would last year because the tornadoes affected the attendance. It's going to have a big impact on the band program. That's another thing. We got to think about the Troy City schools. And everyone benefits from the donuts. Senior citizens. A lot of other groups will miss the funding. They always have their, I believe it's strawberry shortcakes, and they advertise, get in from the hot heat. Coming to the AC at the Senior Citizens Center over there. Michael Blankenship. I've usually tried to stay away from the town during the festival, but I'm sad that it comes to this. What a lot of people seem to forget is the in-person meetings and planning this festival requires well before it goes on. Now, I've seen the mayors doing these like Zoom meetings. That's the big thing right now. It's a software called Zoom that allows you to do these meetings. So I don't know why they can't just do that. I guess some people want to be in person, but just, I don't know, stand 6 feet away like you normally would. Cynthia says, maybe a blessing for small downtown businesses. Can remember when there was no Strawberry Festival. I know folks love it. 1 year isn't going to kill us missing it. Why not use the fairgrounds? Or more fun yet, move it to Duke Park. Or back to the levee. No dogs other than service animals. That kind of makes sense. I don't know. Having it on the downtown really does alleviate the stress of it raining each year. If it rains, we don't have to worry about it. We only have to worry about it now as half as much as we would have before, because now we're downtown instead of the levee, which is a good thing. But on the other hand, it kind of does take the fun away from it. I like walking across the bridge now. I kind of like that it's in two different places. My gripe is not necessarily the location of the festival. My gripe is just, it's not as fun as it used to be. Maybe that's part of growing up. I don't know. Let's see here. We got a couple other reactions there, but there it is. Carrie, hashtag take it back to the levee. Best news I've heard all month. Interesting take. Probably not going to be a very popular one amongst the community. Now, something that's going to be very popular amongst the community, 41 West Main Street. Man, I sounded like one of those street news reporters. Now, something that's going to be very popular across the city. That cadence they have. $12 million road project has been proposed for Troy. Now, it would be built in 2 phases in 2022, 2023. Just when I think I'm going to have no issue with tax dollars and state funding being spent, just when I think I'm going to be completely on board with this, they throw that little nugget in there for me. 2022 and 2023. Construction projects go on far too long, and local governments and government in general, they just kind of have they have a little bit of an inability to move things along quickly, fast. There's no reason that repaving from, what is it here? From Cherry Street all the way down to the interstate should take that long. Now, they're going to be doing a lot of stuff. We'll sift through here. We'll get into it. This article by Nancy Bowman. Work on a proposed $12 million West Main Street corridor improvement project continues, including reviewing public comments. The project will be done in 2 phases, beginning with the stretch of Main Street from Cherry Street just west of the public square in 2022, and from Ridge Avenue to the interstate in 2023. The project has been under discussion for several years and includes funding sources from local and beyond. The $5.1 million first phase is expected to be funded through Safety Improvement Program funds, urban paving funds, and $2.05 million from local sources. The Ohio Department of Transportation will provide project oversight and is among the sources of money, including federal agents. This is why a lot of people were kind of upset with the state route being in its poor condition. It's poor. I drive truck. I take my truck over that without a trailer. It is terrible for my vehicle. Terrible. It's terrible for anyone's vehicles. But I don't hold the gripe. For once, I don't hold the gripe with the city on this one. Hold the gripe with the state, because they have to coordinate with the state since it's a state route that runs through the city. I've been expecting this for years. It's taking forever. And the fact that we won't even start to see this done until 2022, according to this. So we got to wait through this year. We got to wait through next year. That's assuming the coronavirus doesn't kill us all. The project has been under discussion for several years. The Ohio Department of Transportation, they're going to be providing the project oversight. For the total project, the city has secured safety funding, annual ODOT resurfacing money, and other grants of around $6 million combined. City engineer, you get a kick out of this one, Jillian Rhodes. The perfect person for the job, Jillian Rhodes. This is why I say all the time that these cities will always just kind of kneel to the state, because a lot of their funding comes from the state, because a lot of people around here don't want to give the local city their funding because they're never getting it back. And in 10 years, when most of these tax things expire, everyone forgets they ever voted on it, and then they ask for an extension. Now, the road diet will occur, Rhodes said, while a decision is pending on whether proposed reverse angle parking in the downtown area should be implemented. No, 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 and no again. The issue that we're having with the downtown is we cannot decide long enough on a traffic pattern down here. I think that's the true problem. We change things, every 5 years down here, every 10 years? Does anyone remember when the circle used to be you had to yield to people entering it? That one was a much needed change. But when it comes to the circle, I don't mind that they took it down from 1 lane on the Market Street side. A little iffy. It's been 1 lane on the East 41 side. But this West Main Street side, I still believe needs 2 lanes. Now, according to this project, they're going to try and redo a lot of curbs. Right here, it'll show you. Widen substandard lanes to provide at least 11-foot widths for outside lanes, 10.5-foot for inside lanes, and 12-foot for center turn lanes. From Adams Street East to Market Street, implement a road diet by reducing from 4 through lanes with no turn lanes to 2 through lanes with a center left turn lane. From Plum Street East to Market Street, convert south side parking from angle in to parallel. From Oxford Street to Plum Street, convert north side parallel parking to angle in parking on north side of street. At Kettering Hospital, this is the one part I'm not a fan of other than the reversed angle parking. Not because I can't do reversed angle parking, but because no one else can do reversed angle parking. Not enough people, at least. At Kettering Hospital, between Adams and Elm Streets, install a raised center median with 1 single access point to the hospital. I hate single medians. I hate raised medians. I drive for a living. Every day I'm out in this. And I hate when I come across cities with raised medians because you can't see the things, especially sitting up where I'm at, and the paint always wears off. The paint always wears off, and the city never does anything to keep them well enough preserved. And in dark time, it's hard enough to see with the quality of paint that they're using anymore. She said, while we haven't received an overwhelming amount of positive or negative response, which means they've received an overwhelming amount of negative response to the reverse angle parking, there is some trepidation to implementing. Once they start going off words like that, it's, you know for a fact they're just trying to save face because it is a foreign concept to most travelers. Yeah, so why change it? I mean, everyone knows how to pull into a parking spot. You're going to have more rear-end crashes by people stopping in the middle of the road, swinging out, and then pushing back into the parking spot. Well, you're going to have a lot of crashes if they have to back out of the parking spot. I don't know. I've backed out of this parking spots my whole life. I never have a problem with it. The issue is not how the parking is set up. Honestly, you probably could do reverse angle parking, and over 30 years, you'd be fine. The issue is people don't take enough time to learn how to properly drive. It's as simple as that when it comes to these road measures. As much as I hate raised center medians, I should probably just pay more attention. I do think they're a bad idea. I don't see an issue. That's not a hard area. It is hard to turn left down through this stretch, but I've just managed it. You figure it out. She said one comment submitted to the city ODOT from a downtown business said there were concerns about the reverse angle parking. We consider the matter of backing into an angle parking space to be far more difficult than merely driving out. With the contaminant delay of having to pass the target slot and then reversing into the slot and interrupting the flow of traffic and frequently requiring following vehicles to reverse direction to accommodate. This is a recipe for creation of traffic jams. Can't say I disagree. Now, the biggest headache that roads said they're going to have with this project will be traversing through all the temporary and permanent easements. There's not a lot of permanent easements required, but the federal process for a lot of temporary easements will be tedious and very time-consuming. That's another big part of this, setting up this, while it may not seem like a huge stretch to pave and recurb and widen a little bit, it's getting through all the little federal tedious processes of just setting up a runaround to get people through the construction zone. And I really think that's what's going to take us these ridiculous 2 phases. I say get it done. You got 3 months over the summer. Do it at night and let's get this over with. But that's my simpleton mind. The cogs of government are far more complex, far more intricate, far more brilliant than I could ever dream of. If you want to call in with your thoughts on State Route 41 being redone from Cherry Street to the interstate in 2 phases over 2022 and 2023, 937-696-7572. Once again, we hope the audio is coming through crystal clear. I haven't had a chance to check it. Hopefully there's no distortion or anything like that. Now, what I was thinking when they do this project, if they're going to widen the curbs and the sidewalks, a lot of the issues that we have in the parking, I won't use the term that everyone uses for it because it would get me in trouble with Facebook and a lot of other people, but everyone downtown calls them that. The parking 1945 man constantly, well, used to at least, I don't know if it's slowed down, been on the receiving end of this before, tickets people for, what is it, extension vehicles. Now, some of them are blatant, like, yeah, but it's not posted on those signs out there. So if they want to ticket people for that, they need to post it on those signs. Well, albeit it's common sense not to leave your truck hanging in a lane. But some people have just normal cars, and they get ticketed for it because they don't want to pull their car all the way to the curb. I was told by the former, all Mr. Smiles parking ticket guy, before all this, Mr. Clean, that you have to just put your tire to the curb and you'll be fine. And I told him that's terrible for my tires, and most cars today have those low-hanging bumpers that'll scrape and tear off with doing that. So people sometimes leave it a foot away just to be sure, but then that leaves them hanging in the back. There's probably a good, and I don't know city plans, this is observing from ground level, probably a good amount, probably about a foot or two that you could take out down here. I really think you could. You could probably take it out and extend the parking spot in. So if they're going to widen and do all this construction, I would suggest, if it's possible, if they look at the plans, there's nothing underneath the ground or anything that would be too hard or complex to redo or reroute, to take a good foot to 2 feet off the sidewalks in the downtown on the outskirts of the square, past Cherry Street. Because I think those you could put the spots in further. Well, that's just my thinking on the matter. I would think that would work. So they're going to be redoing the roads. They're looking at a 2022 to 2023 finish. So they're going to start in 2022, wrap up the first phase, and then 2023 they're going to start in on the next phase. Let's hope that it's as simple as that. Honestly, let's give them 2 years. That should be enough. But sometimes with these projects, they continue to go on farther than expected due to whatever complication, just like the courthouse down here was slated for this fall, but this whole incident came up with the shutdown, and that's struggling for them to get supplies for the new courthouse design, which I don't hate. I think it's actually looking pretty good. I like the fact that they use the pillars from the old fountains. I think that'll look very nice out front. $3 million, nice. I don't know, but apparently there was a bunch of stuff underneath that they had to redo. So that's your construction update. They are getting to 41 West Main Street. They are finally going to be accomplishing that, redoing it from Cherry Street to the interstate, widening, recurbing, repaving, doing some different traffic changes. They want to take it down to a single lane down here as well. And maybe that will alleviate for more space like it did on Market Street if they don't want to move the curbs in. I say keep it 2 lanes down here, but if they don't want to move the curbs in, if that's too much of a cost, then simply we'll go down to 1 lane and we'll sift through it. But I find myself stopping at way too many lights down here. But what can you do? It's like the Huber Heights dilemma. 202 and 201. There are big stretches coming in and out of Dayton. People are trying to avoid. Maybe people are expanding to the Huber Heights area. The traffic's just screwed. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no widening potential. I mean, you would pretty much have to redo the whole city. And with them trying to keep the historic aspect of it, and they're not going to be leveling buildings anytime soon, you can't do it. You got to work with what you've got. So the traffic will continue to build as Troy continues to grow, which its growth rate's been phenomenal. Well, let's move into the golf debacle. Did you see that they reopened the golf course? I was not sure if they were going to reopen the golf course or not, but I guess the city council got tired and told the mayor that we need somewhere to go golf. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but it's right here from Miami Valley Today by Melody, TroyDailyNews.com. Golf is back after the Troy, Ohio Health Department, or the Ohio Health Department, revised course over the weekend. Nice pun. Both Miami Shores golf courses in Troy and Echo Hills Golf Course in Piqua are back open. Miami Shores opened Wednesday, while Echo Hills will open Thursday. As reported last week, both golf courses did a number of things to keep it safer before the golf courses were shut down, and those will remain in place. Before I continue on, I've pointed this out in my last 3 shows. Local news is very important. Take it seriously and proofread, proofread, and proofread. Do they not have anyone who proofreads at Miami Valley Today? You all are providing a great service, and you all seem to be very inept in, some of them more than most, in getting information. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but you need to proofread, because I should not be reading these. I should not have read Facebook comments earlier easier than I do a professional article. So as reported last week, both of those golf courses were shut down. Now, they include social distancing, golfers remaining 6 feet apart, no rakes on the golf course, or golfers to touch. Which, if you end up touching a golfer on the golf course, you're not telling someone at home something. At Echo Hills, you will be limited to one per cart. I can't write this stuff. One per cart until they are out of carts. There are no flag sticks or bunker rakes. Echo Hills also lifted the cup liner several inches about the hole. All right. You get the point. They put that letter out. I'm not going to continue. That's the one I didn't proofread. I always make sure I proofread my articles because I have to proofread them for them usually. But in this case, I did not get around to that one because I thought it's a golf article. How hard could that be to read? I know golf. I know all the terms. I won't get any of these words wrong. It's not that I should have been concerned about. Totally throws the flow. Now here's a list. We'll try and get further into the article. The list part. Don't share carts, don't remove the pin, don't borrow clubs, don't borrow accessories, don't toss your partner their ball, don't toss your partner their ball marker, don't exchange cash, don't shake hands, don't reach into the golf hole, don't rent clubs, don't hang around the clubhouse. Wash your hands. That's a big idea. They got way ahead of this. All the golf courses, we covered this on a couple shows back. All the golf courses, and they spread the tee times out to 10 minutes instead of 8. But all the golf courses sent this letter off listing these things. They enacted them and put them into practice, and they had put it out there. And everyone was upset. And people are still upset that they reopened. It's a public golf course, though. They got to reopen. They got to make money to support that. Running a golf course, you can't just take a hit like that. And if a public golf course takes a hit like that we just dumped over $1 million into to rebuild the clubhouse, all the citizens are going to take a hit. And we're already taking a hit off the water bills, and we're already taking a hit everywhere else with this shutdown. And that place has been packed. I'm telling you, packed over there at Miami Shores. Glad to see it, honestly. So the golf courses are now back open. We made an instructional video, facebook.com/Beautiful Troy Show, with 10 tips or so, maybe more or less, give or take a few, on how to stay safe on the golf course as part of our social distancing on the golf course that we're offering on our Facebook page. Check out the video, facebook.com/Beautiful Troy Show. Further on into the stack now, we have Troy seeks to defer small business loans. The Troy City Council's Finance Committee approved a recommendation from city staff to authorize a 3-month deferral of loan payments, both principal and interest, through July. Now, the Finance Committee approved the recommendation, but as Melanie Yinkstier writes, in a special meeting, Troy City Council approved to defer 29 small business loans for 3 months on Monday. The deferral would apply for the city's 29 small business development and community development block grant loan holders. The loans would have a 3-month extension to the life of the loan with no penalty. The deferment of payments will be at the borrower's request. We've got our first audio clip coming from that announcement, which I found on Facebook today from the Troy Chamber of Commerce.
Today, we announced the creation of the Troy Small Business Disaster Relief Program, a grant program to assist you, the small business owner. This program was created for any small business under 50 employees, including restaurants, retail, service, and industry throughout Troy.
And we have another clip here. This one is, I believe this is Kathy Roeder talking here. And that is this one right here. This is Kathy Roeder from the Troy Chamber of Commerce talking further about Troy seeking to defer these small business loans and the council approving to defer the loans.
We would like to emphasize this program.
I'm sorry, we have 2 clips actually from the first gentleman speaking at the chamber.
We would like to emphasize this program is to assist in the short term. Businesses who may need the assistance now may apply for the Troy Small Business Disaster Relief Program. Once you complete our application, you have already completed approximately half of the Small Business Administration's disaster loan application. If a business would like to unlock up to $2 million at 3.75% interest through the SBA disaster loan, we are more than happy to assist you in completing the application.
Now we move on to the next clip. As far as the show is going tonight, this could be Kathy Roeder. Let's find out.
The criteria for the Small Business Disaster Relief Program is you must be a Troy business employing under 50 employees. Must be located in a commercial or retail storefront and not be a home-based business or a nonprofit business. Must be current in all local, state, and federal obligations, taxes, assessments, etc. Must be impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Grant funds must be used for operating expenses such as payroll, utilities, and rent. It cannot be used for capital expenses or payment for taxes or assessments. Typical grant awards will be up to $2,500, but exceptional awards will be up to $5,000. Funds will be awarded on a first-come, first-served basis, and please be aware funds are limited.
That was Kathy Roeder talking about the Troy City Council approving to defer loans, and another gentleman, I forgot his name at this time, from the Troy Chamber of Commerce discussing the impact, the criteria to get these loans for the small businesses, who is eligible, so forth, so on. I figured out what happened with the clips there. There were 2 other people that spoke, another lady by the name of Andrea and the mayor. Andrea spoke, and then the mayor spoke, and I just kind of tuned out at that part. Basically, it's fluff speak, was all it was. You know, saving face and how this is the best thing ever, whatever the case is. If you're a business owner, you can decide for yourself if this is a good thing. I'm not here to comment on that. I'm not eligible for my small business. My small business has not been affected by the coronavirus. I'm not eligible for it. Don't seek one. Don't need one. I'm not going to speak on behalf of it and act like I have knowledge on it. That's why I deferred to them with the audio clips. But the mayor got up to, do what mayors do. Nothing against it. That's just what they do. Now, it continues here to say that the council also approved, this is some stuff they snuck in the back door, Council also approved to create an employee creation incentive program as part of the local economic opportunity package to prospective or current businesses. The program would kick back a percentage of payroll tax, which the city collects back to the employer. The program's scope includes a minimum payroll projection of $10 million or more, an employee average pay rate of 175% or more above Ohio's minimum wage, and a commitment of operations for 10 years or more. Allow the city to review payroll without withholding figures, a reimbursement of the payroll incentive if the agreement is broken, suspending payment if the company's payroll drops below $5 million, and an agreement to ramp up to full staffing within 4 years of operation. The program is part of an economic development package to present to a potential occupant of the former United Retail Distribution Center, so they made some more headway on that. And there's a couple other things that they were working on this week as well, which is entering into a contract for the rebuilding of Parks and Screen at the wastewater treatment plant. The lowest bid of the two were submitted was $109,700, which was over the estimate of $100,000. Participating in the bid of Ohio Department of Transportation Cooperative Purchasing Program for road salt, Troy request for salt is 600 tons. The city has 1,150 tons to date. Good thing. They had a light winter. They saved. Another 600 tons would do us well coming up. Establishing the deadline to file and pay City of Troy tax obligations has been extended to July 15th. We've got more on that later in the show. So that's kind of what the City Council was working on there. I can't remember. I want to say that they did this one possibly virtually, or they're canceling meetings now, and they had their last meeting in person, but they were 6 feet. The camera angle that they record the City Council meetings is very... it kind of lies. And so they looked a little bit closer than they actually were. But we were told that they moved seats around and they spaced the council members out to follow social distancing guidelines. Not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is the audio. I'd love to listen to those things online, but being an audio snob like I am, and hopefully it's all working tonight, it'd be very embarrassing. But I'm constantly tweaking these things, and it bugs me when audio goes wrong or I mess something up. It's always a strive to do better and better and put more creativity into something. So hopefully I can get the audio fixed over there. It's just too much burning, and I just can't hear, and it drives me nuts. But they are doing work still. They are getting that accomplished. As we mentioned last week, apparently the colors were not enough to bring United Retail. And we still don't know if United Retail is coming based on this package that they're sending out. So we will find out. But it is business as usual at the county's football teams. They're still preparing for the unknown future, but they're trying to keep it as business unusual, you might say. As the article states here from the Troy Daily News by Joshua Brown, while the focus remains on whether or not spring sports will happen, Miami County's football coaches are beginning to wonder what their summer might look like. COVID-19 causing the cancellation of Ohio's winter sports postseason tournaments and indefinitely postponing the start of spring sports, the area's football coaches are currently moving forward thinking that the fall season and even their summer preseason workouts will go off without a hitch. I'm going to put a call into the back office here at the call screener. We forgot to flip the lights on before we started the shows. There's always one thing you mess up. So if the call screener wants to roll out here and so kindly flip that light switch, we would appreciate it. I can survive in the dark reading articles. I'm a well-trained broadcast professional. I will survive, but it would be nice to have the lights. So I'd be lying if I said the possibility of our season being postponed hadn't crept into my mind, into my head, but I can tell you that we're still preparing like there is no possibility of that happening. Troy coach Dan Grease said, "We're trying to take advantage of some of the positives of this, like having extra time to do summer planning, and we're also sending the kids workouts so they stay engaged and making sure they have everything they need." Football-wise, though, teams aren't scheduled to get together for official organized practices until the 10 practice days in the month of June and July, with the full preseason not kicking off until August. "We're in such unprecedented territory right now," Tippecanoe coach said. Covington football coach Ty Cates has emphasized focusing on the positive with his players. That's how they're going to play that one off. Piqua coach Bill Nees is never without a plan. Even when it comes to the coronavirus, the Indians have completed Phase A of adapting and are on to Phase B. Plan A was the workouts and running. Now Plan B is where they're going to go to send them more specific things to work on for their skill positions. This will give them a little change of pace, and hopefully that will help. Really, we didn't miss anything because we take a 1 week break after winter. We set up Google Classroom and all other players have checked in. Everyone utilizing technology to keep things rolling as we are shut down. The main thing is we just want them to stay in a routine, getting up in the morning at the same time, eating at the same time, and doing their schoolwork at the same time. Now, I told you later on in the show that we were going to have some more reaction from the mayor as far as the the parks, which we were all encouraged. We were all encouraged to go out to the parks. We were all told, get out to the parks. Just stay socially distanced, but get out to the parks. Well, this headline here, once again from the Troy Daily News by Melody, Charleston Falls to close due to overcrowding. The Miami County Park District staff announced Wednesday, as we talked about in the last show, their park attendance had soared. Wednesday that they are taking additional proactive measures to protect the health and safety of people from the threat of COVID-19. Effective Friday, April 3rd, Charleston Falls Preserve and Tip City closed until further notice. Overcrowding in the past few weeks has made it increasingly difficult for the public to implement appropriate physical distancing. As a result, the MCPD has no other feasible option but to close Charleston Falls Preserve. While we regret having to close the park, our priority is to keep the staff and visitors safe. Unfortunately, with the heavy use we've seen at Charleston Falls over the past few weeks, public safety is a significant concern. That's what the executive director, J. Scott Myers, said. We all know him as Scott Myers. I don't know why they throw the J in there, but as of now, the other MCPD parks will remain open so people can reap the physical and mental benefits of being outdoors. They throw me off guard. I don't know what word and what letter isn't. This is another one. I should probably just announce that. These are the ones I've proofread, and these are the ones that I haven't. Got me completely thrown off tonight. Now, just shut the parks down. Just do it. Just do it. Stop balancing this line. Stop balancing this ridiculous line that you're trying to protect our rights, you're trying to protect the constitutional rights of people, and just shut it down. Just shut everything down. Because I'm about tired of hearing how this has been going. I've got to dance around my words a lot here. I don't like doing it. I usually don't do it, but I have to dance around my words, and dancing around your words will lead to things like and So whenever I do that, just know there's more in my mind that I want to say, but I'm kind of saving it and holding my reaction in until the right time, until I have developed a better opinion on it. Unlike our mayor sometime, who just is instantly just plops onto Facebook and just has to throw her 2 cents in there, or the City of Troy government Facebook page. Usually they just do pretty good updates here. There's nothing that they've done. But she was upset that the kids are utilizing the skate park. She was upset that skateboarders were skating at a skate park. Again, if you're touching people at a skate park or touching stuff at a skate park or not washing your hands after you're done at a skate park, which I don't think skaters care about any of that, and I don't think skaters will ever care about that. That's kind of just a fad with them, or not a fad, that's just their scene. And I'm not going to sit here and be foolish enough to believe that skaters are going to listen to that by closing the skate park. It's illegal to skate on a lot of stuff, yet people still do it. I wonder with her sometimes, because she always just acts like the mom of Troy. It reminds me of the guy from the Simpsons.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
It can't be that you are going to come out and say that you're telling skaters to not skate on a skate park, that we paid a lot of money for to put them over there because they were skating on a bunch of other stuff. And there's still the thrill of skating. You've got to be really out of touch for this one to even touch on the topic, because it's a pointless endeavor, other than maybe trying to convince the people that follow you that you're doing something about it. Maybe that's all they want, is something to be mad about.
Am I so out of...
Well, I guess the space bar does that. I didn't know it was hooked into that. So they closed Charleston Falls for that, and in a post by the City of Troy government, it says Joe Reardon Skate Park, which is the one over by Family Video, is closed in accordance with the Ohio Department of Health stay-at-home order, and at the request of the park board, Joe Reardon Skate Park has been closed. Troy's other city parks remain open. However, playgrounds, park shelters, and all park restroom facilities are closed. All basketball, tennis, and pickleball courts are closed until further notice. Park visitors are asked to stay safe, to observe the 6-foot social distancing rule, and to respect the state orders against congregating. In addition, we are asking that park patrons take all trash with them when exiting the parks in an effort to reduce the number of maintenance staff needed. I don't know if this is a coronavirus thing or what, but the trash cans downtown need bags in them, by the way. So they've closed the skate park. Just close the other parks and be done with it. Instead of having to come on here and say, I told you guys stay off the parks, and now because of your actions, we got to close the park. And no one's going to listen to this, let's be honest. And like I said earlier, it's breaking news that we found germs outside in public. If you bring your own ball or whatever. They don't want people congregating, and then their fear is they're going to go home to their grandparents, etc., etc., etc. If you have the particular situation where you have grandparents you have to frequent, then don't do these things. Self-quarantine yourself. Not officially quarantine, just do it yourself. If you have to, if you feel that it's that urgent and that necessary, do it. But they use these terminologies to skate around, no pun intended again, to skate around the issue of people, obviously, if they go out and do it, which I don't think so. I think they could honestly close the parks right now and everyone would be fine with it and no one would complain. I really do think that. I think people are that to the point where they do not care about principles and stuff like that. If they feel like they're going to be a little bit safer because of something, they would be okay with it. So honestly, you could go ahead and close the parks and just be done with it. But she insists that she's going to be able to keep people from skating. So a lot of parks closing here. Piqua reminds the public that the playground skate park remains closed. The city of Piqua is reminding the public that during the next 30 days, it is important to practice social distancing and remain alert to stay at home and to slow the spread of COVID-19. During this time, Governor Mike DeWine and Ohio Department of Health Director Amy Acting have ordered that all parks can remain open, but playgrounds should be closed. The Piqua Skate Park is included in the playgrounds that have been closed due to the pandemic. The following protocols have been taken to enforce these orders. Playgrounds have been taped off, signs have been posted at all city playgrounds, and basketball rims have been removed at Fountain and Moat parks. There's how you do it. I think Piqua is setting an example right there. It'll take city resources and tax dollars and expose people to the COVID as they have to take down the rims and whatnot. But if you want to get rid of it, then just get rid of it. These half measures are never going to work that well. But I got a good laugh out of the fact that she really thought that she could keep skaters from skating, or maybe she doesn't believe it and she just has to say it. I don't know her motives. I can't put words in her mouth, but I would think the words were something like this.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Just trying to get along. I don't think it's going to work. So they closed the skate park, Joe Reardon Skate Park. To all the skaters listening to talk radio, don't go to the skate park. Now, more than 300 inmates of the Montgomery County Jail. We have a lot of jail articles this week to go over. A lot of them are from last week when I didn't get to cover them because we just ran out of time. More than 300 inmates have been released from the Montgomery County Jail due to the coronavirus. More than 300 inmates of the Montgomery County Jail accused of nonviolent crimes have been released since the coronavirus outbreak. Montgomery County Sheriff Rob Streck said he's also asked his deputies and surrounding police departments to not arrest and book suspects of nonviolent misdemeanor crimes in jail. Instead, they are being asked to resolve the matters in other ways, like with a ticket or a court summons. Now, we all know how the Hamilton County judge, or not the judge, but down there in, I think this came out of Hamilton County, the county that Cincinnati's in. This was a clip from him, the first one up. I'll let you decide. It's not too local to our area, but this is how they're handling it down there, our friends in Cincinnati.
And I told Elliot, Isaac, I said...
And before we get into this was recorded during a 700 WLW interview, just to give credit where credit is due.
And I told Elliot, Isaac, I said, just charge them with felonious assault, stick their rear ends in the Justice Center, and we'll deal with them in July.
Kind words from him. He goes on in another clip, just kind of a bit of a rant that I've pieced together here, where he essentially said it was a group of people had gotten together down in Cincinnati and over the Rhine. So you can already tell where this story is going, and they had a party. They live streamed it on the streets of over the Rhine. I think maybe the biggest thing they could get them for is the disruption in the public streets, but they're going to get them for felonious assault because they conjured up some stuff. As of right now, to my knowledge, they have zero evidence that this happened, but the cops got there and said that they were coughing on the police, which I'm telling you right now, that is just so that they can get, because who's the judge going to believe? The person on the street or the cop? There you have it. He goes on in his rant.
These guys that pull this crap are going to get arrested, and they're going to sit their butts in the Justice Center until July, unless some nut judge lets them out. It's just going to happen. We're not going to put up with it. I'm not going to put up with it, and we'll rearrest them if we have to. I don't care.
You've got the Montgomery County Jail releasing inmates, and you've got this guy a little further south, about 2 counties south in Cincinnati, wanting to put people in jail during the coronavirus. They're trying to release them to stop the spread because we all know, and this is nonviolent people, don't worry, they're still keeping the people in there that absolutely have to be in there. They're still going after people with warrants, etc. The nonviolent misdemeanor crimes. But they've already done something to put them in jail. They're already okay with breaking the laws. I don't think releasing them is going to help, but they want to try and quell the spread in the prison. In my opinion, you're in prison. All right? You have to be humane to people. I understand this, but your actions have led you there. A lot of them I probably disagree with. There's probably a lot of people in this list that shouldn't be in prison. All the non-violent misdemeanor crimes. We all know what that means. So they got this guy going off. I mean, he was going off in this interview down in Hamilton County. He continues.
And to have the attitude of, F the virus, I don't care, we're going to have a party. Okay, you're putting everyone at risk. You are attempting, in my mind, as a prosecutor, you're attempting to commit serious physical harm to people, and that is felonious assault.
He just pulled that one out of thin air. I'm glad we don't have him as a prosecutor up here.
But I'll tell you right, this is why I'm not the governor. If I was the governor, I would tell these churches, the first attendee at your church is going to be the National Guard.
Now he's telling, if he was governor, that would be his solution, is to send the National Guard to your church in order to keep you from congregating. One of the most protected things. And again, people in these scenarios, this is why I believe you could close the park down, because the majority of people in this situation are just saying, yeah, sure, whatever, if it keeps us safe, if you're telling us. But now their numbers are coming in as being less than what they were. But our local communities are still, yeah, if it keeps me safe. People are still panicking, going down to Kroger, going to Walmart. You want to keep people from panicking, and then you go out and announce that you're going to be limiting or telling the places to limit how many people can be in the store. The numbers shot right back up. Everyone went to Lowe's. Everyone went to Walmart. It's a stockpile again. You've got to quell the panic at some point. Now, let's see. Clip 10, I think, is the final one.
I'm just telling you, this is why I would never be elected governor, because I would shut it all down. Yeah. I would just shut it down. I'd be like, I don't care who you're praying to. I don't care who you're dancing to on your cars. Yeah. I don't care. We are not letting you people gather like this anymore.
I don't know. Maybe it was in clip 9. And one of these clips, he goes off to say, we're not limiting how you pray. You can still do a lot of these things online, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same argument they use with any other right that they want to take slowly over time, any local thing that they want to get done. It's the same argument every single time. Oh, we don't care. You can still do this. You can still do this. And they just slowly take them away. It's a test. The whole thing's a test by these people to see what they can and can't get away with. But Montgomery County, just south of us here, is doing the right thing. I don't know. I haven't heard any reports of the jails around here releasing anybody. But they're releasing the nonviolent misdemeanor criminals out of the jails in this time. It says, I believe that the people being released have been vetted to the point that if those individuals who are making those decisions are comfortable, then I feel comfortable. Saying that he has faith here. The prosecutor down there in Cincinnati is saying that some nut judge would let them out. He's talking about the people that were going out saying they don't care about the coronavirus and standing defiant in the midst of the coronavirus. I get that. I get he was saying those things in the sense of, I don't know. If I go further into this topic, we'll get too far away from local news, and I want to bring it back to Montgomery County here. Streck said a big reason for this is the jail is no longer accepting suspects with warrants from outside of Montgomery County, with a few exceptions. My agency pulls someone over from the other county. We will contact that county and see if they want to meet up and transfer custody, Streck said. Most times, because warrants are usually traffic, the other agency says come to the courts and take care of it after all this is over. He said the move was made because other jails were refusing to come pick up their inmates due to new coronavirus policies they have implemented themselves. So that is Montgomery County's move, is to just release some of the nonviolent misdemeanor. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I think it's probably a good idea. If you aren't going to be a hypocrite and you do want to spread or not spread COVID-19, that's why when they did this whole stay-at-home order, Troy Police Department, Miami County Sheriff's Department, all came out and said, we're not actually going to do anything. We're going to use ways to keep people from gathering. I mean, if they're absolutely forced to. They did this after the fact, after this video was recorded, or during this video at some point. I think they went down there and got these guys off the streets. But you cannot enforce this. There's plenty of people, I see them driving by, that aren't staying home. I think it's a very hypocritical time. It's very hard to sift through without getting too in the face of people. We aren't there yet. A female inmate has died at the Miami County Jail. This is some reporting that I wanted to get to last time on the show. March 23rd is when this happened, was from what was believed to be a medical incident. According to a press release from Miami County Sheriff Dave Duchek, at 9:26 p.m. on March 23rd, while conducting a cell check, correction staff found an unresponsive female in a single cell, and she was turning blue. The correction staff, along with a jail nurse, utilized an AED, which did advise to shock. One shock was administered and CPR was administered. Troy medics arrived a short time later, and they also administered 2 shocks and did regain a pulse. Unfortunately, the female later passed away after being transported to the Kettering's Troy Hospital. The deceased is Crystal L. Hutton, 37, of Piqua, who had been incarcerated since March 4th for misdemeanor telephone harassment. Duchek said she was being held on a $500 bond. There is no evidence of foul play, is what he said. It is suspected that some type of medical event may have occurred. Mrs. Hutton displayed no signs of any symptoms associated with the COVID-19 virus, and she has been housed in a single cell since March 4th, or was housed. The investigation will continue until autopsy results have been received, which will be likely several weeks. The official autopsy results have not been released, according to the next bit of information here. But they have confirmed that it was natural cause in the jail death. This was reported 2 days later on March 25th. The Miami County coroner, Dr. William Ginn, confirmed on March 25th that the death of Crystal in Piqua in the Miami County Jail was due to natural causes and not COVID-19 related, or COVID-19. Ginn said a preliminary autopsy confirms the natural causes and that a final autopsy report will not be available approximately for 8 weeks. So they're referring to the final report will not be available. Well, if you do have any calls you want to place or thoughts on this, I'm getting a little bit too much in the show. Just give us a call, 937-696-7572 if you need to call in and vent. That's the number to do it on, or beautifultroyshow@gmail.com. Now, last Friday, a Troy man was arrested following a drug raid. So this was reported March 23rd, so the Friday before March 23rd. The Miami County Sheriff's Office detectives obtained a search warrant in Troy, which resulted in 1 arrest and the seizure of cocaine and drug trafficking materials. Cocaine in Troy. Unheard of. This is a severe problem. I will say they do a lot of stuff in the background. They do a lot of these stings. Also, do not sell rose petals or rosebuds or any type of flower at Mankey Park, I believe, or the crack undercover units of Troy, Ohio will come and arrest you for doing so. I know there was some context with that story, but it's just silly. Arrested the guy over rosebuds. You still see that one detective vehicle they have. It's plastered all over YouTube now with like 6 million views. No good to them anymore as an undercover vehicle after that, but they still have it. Some old, I think it's the old version of the Ford Explorer you'll see sitting around every once in a while. That was a good laugh. If you ever want a good laugh, go on and look up "Man Arrested for Flowers, Troy, Ohio." You'll find the clip. It's quite funny. The search warrant was conducted at 252 Grant Street in Troy. Items seized during the raid included cocaine, 2 handguns, drug manufacturing equipment, digital scales, $11,000 in cash, cell phones, and a vehicle. Kevin Lee Hughes of Troy was arrested at the time of the search. Hughes was charged with trafficking cocaine, manufacturing of drugs, and 2 counts of weapons under disability. The investigation is ongoing and additional arrests are likely, according to the Sheriff's Office press release. I remember I think they did a prostitution sting a while back here in Troy at the Comfort Inn, I want to say. We do have these things in our area, and while some at the top would like to not believe that, or they're playing their PR game, I'm all about just being real with the issue, dealing with it, and congratulations to a job well done there. Now, the police, this was a big story a week or two ago. The police were looking to ID a person who threatened to spread the illness of COVID-19 in a Facebook post. And I knew from the moment I saw this was fake. But a lot of these people at our top tier of governments in our local communities and police departments are older. They do not understand. They do not spend, rightfully so sometimes, a lot of their time on social media. I am very social media inept. I've been through this for 10 years. I've been doing this. So the police were looking to ID this person. When I read this post, I knew this is going to be a hoax. There's going to be more to this story. This just doesn't look real. This doesn't look like someone in our area. But the Facebook post said, I've been coughing with a fever, but I think it's best to treat myself like a vaccine. I've been going to grocery stores and wiping my dirty tissues on canned goods, cleaning products, and toilet paper. If you get sick, then you will be immune to it. God chose me to do this, and I sure hope I am doing it right. I love you guys. Stop panicking. After it hits, all will be fine. He went on to comment saying, so far I have done the Piqua Kroger, Piqua Walmart, Troy Kroger. I'm planning to do Greenville Walmart. Now, this scared a couple people, rightfully so. Those who do not spend their time on social media like I do. I can get where they were scared. I get where they were concerned with this. A lot of people take what they see on social media at face value. They don't take it with a grain of salt. They don't look into it. They see it. It's a scare to them. The update on the story, we'll get to that in a second, but the initial reports were police are working to identify a person who, via a Facebook post, claims he has been spreading his illness in stores in Piqua and Troy and is threatening to do a store in Greenville. This was all according to WHIO. They said that they are not identifying the person by name because he has not been charged with a crime yet, which is why the news reporters did not report it. This news organization was made aware of the post, which is dated March 13th of 2020, and notified the Piqua Police Department. In a follow-up post, which we read earlier, that's when he said he was going to do the Piqua and Kroger stores and so forth, so on. This was all unfolding like a hoax, in my opinion. According to the Ohio Revised Code, a person causing public alarm by initiating or circulating a report of a warning, alleged yada yada yada, it's like screaming fire in a theater. We all get it. People are going to panic. Is this illegal? I should call 911. But they did report it to the proper authorities, and they looked into it, and the update was the person claiming to be the writer of the post responded on his Facebook page that his post was a joke and he was not in the state of Ohio. They're still working to learn more. Odds are this dude is probably not even a real account, and it is clearly a troll. But unfortunately, people have not learned that yet, and we have to go through this process. But that is part of the internet now. You're going to get a lot of those. I just let things unfold a little bit. That's why I like doing this show. I've thought about doing this show twice a week. I like doing it once a week just to give me time to absorb all the information and see how things play out. It's helpful. Another article I have not proofread here, so bear with me, please. This is coming from Troy Daily News, Melody. This was a breaking and entering suspect apprehended. A man has been arrested for an alleged breaking and entering at a local church. The sheriff said that the burglary in progress was reported at approximately 12:47 p.m. Tuesday, March 31st at the Troy Free Will Baptist Church off of County Road 25A in Concord Township. According to the sheriff, it was determined that a person had entered the church and had stolen some tools. They had observed someone running across the field on County Road 25A towards the bike path as deputies arrived on scene. They were assisted by the Ohio State Highway Patrol, who had troopers in the area and helped in the search for the suspect. And the male suspect was located on the railroad tracks near a train trestle, running alongside the bike path behind the 2300 block of South County Road 25A. The suspect was identified as Andrew Bryce Ledwith, 45, who had previously had addresses in Sydney and Utah. Ledwith was found to be in possession of stolen property from the Troy Free Will Baptist Church. It was also learned that Ledwith had an arrest warrant out in Greene County for non-support. Guy's been all over the place. Why would you rob a church? The whole God thing aside and being struck down with lightning as you cross the field, why would you rob a church? There's nothing in there to rob. I mean, sometimes they have good, maybe soundboard equipment. That's the only expensive things I can think of. Maybe some decorations. I don't know. People do crazy things when they need the money. Our local representative Powell was appointed to an advisory board. Speaker Larry Householder recently appointed State Representative Jenna Powell to the governor's advisory board of faith-based and community initiatives. Powell was very pleased with the appointment. No, I don't want it. Rejected. Well, we're appointing you anyway. I would hope she was. What else is she going to say? Faith and community are an important part of my life, and I am thrilled to serve on the governor's advisory board of faith-based and community initiatives on behalf of my community and our state. At the heart of every state is strong faith and thriving communities. That's why we should send the National Guard to keep them from gathering. According to the prosecutor down in Cincinnati, I don't know. That's why he did preface. That's why he would never be governor. But even with DeWine, I'm sure he would want to if he could. The mission of the governor's office of faith-based and community initiatives is to promote solutions, including those from faith-based partners to community needs and supports and development to collaborative efforts to improve the well-being of Ohioans. So Jenna Powell now on the Faith Advisory Board. These guys have a hard time reading amendments. Now, something I saw going around, a member is looking to boost the spirits of others, one slice at a time. On Thursday, April 2nd, from 5 to 7 p.m., St. Patrick's Soup Kitchens. I don't know, I'm having a terrible night reading. I'm just going to be honest and out front there. This is not my usual self tonight, so we will get through this. 25 North Mulberry Street in Troy offered a parking lot pizza party April 2nd. Each person who drove, maybe rode bikes or walked through the drive-through line, received a free pizza, according to St. Patrick's Soup's Kitchen director Dick Steinman. Steinman said the donor, who wants to remain anonymous, planned to purchase up to 400 pizzas from local pizza establishments to be shared with community members. It's a wonderful gift from a community member, Steinman said. He said the donor wants to help bring a little hope and happiness to the community for an evening. We just want to give some good news. Music will be playing, just help people feel a little better about what's going on in the nation right now. Well, it sounds great, right? A little pizza party for the community. But the first thought that popped in my head is this is not going to go over well for this person whatsoever, because everyone's going to start complaining about social distancing. Keep your distance. Why are you inviting all these people to hand out pizzas? I mean, it's like people just can't think anymore. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to throw this out there. I think maybe I've just had a bit of a crappy week. Maybe the quarantine or the stay-at-home order, I should say. It's not a quarantine. It's just getting to me. Because I've been unproductive. I've had not much to do in 2 weeks, along with other people. A lot of people are using this as a time to sit back and watch TV. I can't do it. If I don't accomplish something productive in the day, if I don't progress my life forward, if I don't use the time that's been given to me while I'm still alive, where God knows statistically I am far more likely to die from anything else, along with every elderly person and every person in this country is statistically more likely to die from something else than this virus. If I don't do something productive with my day in my local community or provide a service or anything, I don't feel like binge watching Netflix. A lot of people are viewing this as a vacation. This is going to be a terrible outcome and very hard for everyone to recover from. I guess it's all the people privileged enough to just sit at their house. Because we had all those reports, the reason we're doing this store thing where they got to set a number of people that can be in there, which is not as bad as people say it is, but still a little ridiculous, is because so many people were complaining, oh, Becky's going to the store with one cart and her whole family. Well, maybe Becky's single. Maybe Becky's husband's at work. Maybe she was laid off. Maybe vice versa. Maybe her husband's single. Maybe any case that you want. I think people are being very unfair, and they're putting the lives of millions of people, millions of businesses, and they're putting the lives of their local community together. And I think these businesses are saving face down here going along with this thing as a PR move. I'm sure a lot of people that believe in keeping people safe. Disinfecting. Every business that I talk to, I don't know where these stories are coming from. It's this Facebook fad that people get on there and they post stories that never happened. And then everyone says it's a big issue. I saw this person was just, their kids were touching everything at Walmart. No, you didn't. You did not see that. You have no proof of it. You didn't take any video. You just went on and wrote an essay, a book on Facebook. It's like these people have nothing better to do than to make up stories on Facebook for viral attention, and there's never any proof with them. And 10 to 1, they never happened. But now here we are, shutting down local stores and local businesses. I'm just walking around the downtown the other day, looking at all these businesses, just damaged internally by this personally, because I'm like, how does any of these people survive? How's the economy going to recover? These are the things that are my thoughts. I'm sorry to tell you, but life does have a price tag, and trading one life for another is not acceptable. Unannounced. Everyone said, well, these businesses need to care about my grandparents. How do you think these businesses care about their grandparents? How do you think these employees care about their families? How do you think that, well, they're just going to get unemployment? Yeah, that'll go over great. It's already being predicted 20 weeks till anyone gets the $1,200 check, which is just an income, still taxable income by the government that you're going to have to give back. All these local, the city council deferred on these loans. I'm just kind of done with all of it. Money being shuffled around that could be spent elsewhere progressing. We get one shot at this world, and we're trading a month of our life so that maybe we won't die. And the numbers are all flawed. The modules are all coming back as fake now. And we're all still cowering. And I think I've just had my wits' end with it, and that's why I'm just not as excited as I usually am. I like to be positive. I like to have fun on this show, and I'm trying to have fun this week, and it's just hard looking out these windows, seeing all these businesses shut down and all these families affected by it because of the spooky 19. I haven't changed one thing since this all happened. I wake up and I still live life like it's my last day. And if the virus gets me, it gets me. If you want to protect yourself from it, protect yourself from it. It's your personal call at the end of the day. It's like everyone was complaining about the golf course. And they were way ahead of this whole thing. No one read what the golf course said. They said, we're going to do this in a sanitary way. It's just stuff the governor wanted us to do anyway. But they just had to feel like they have power. People are powerless here. People cannot fight the government or their local community here. It will get them nowhere. So in order to feel a little bit of power, they get on board with this whole thing, and they want to just get something shut down. They got to feel something. They got to feel like they can still do something. The golf course was way ahead of this. Everyone was way ahead of this. All these businesses, every local business person that I know and I'm friends with, I know they were far ahead of this, implementing these practices to keep people safe. You obviously have to. I went down to pick up tacos for Taco Tuesday. I was at El Toro in Vandalia, and I went in there, and the guy was unfortunately under the impression that it was still April 6th we were going to be doing this till, and I had to inform him that it was April 30th, and he just looked sad, and he said, no tables, no money. And they had this bottle of cleaner on the table. They were cleaning. In fact, this was stuffed way down in the stack later, but I just thought this was funny. I don't know. It's somewhere down here. It's the Troy restaurant inspections for the week. Every week there's some kind of violation. This was one, no violations across all the restaurants and businesses that they went into to inspect. No violations. One, they're all shut down. Two, everyone's scared to death of this virus. Businesses, knowing that their consumers are scared to death of this virus, immediately went into action and implemented health and safety codes. Now we're all shut down. I don't know. What can we do about this? What's the guarantee that when everything gets back up and running again one day, that anyone's going to follow health codes already on the books? Maybe we should just put a health inspector agent in each and every restaurant. But that is the reason. I'm just very sad this week. I think finally it's taken a toll on me. Usually these things don't, but I've got nothing to do. I am just sitting back for a month of life because breaking news. People who have got an extra 20-some years out of life, dead. It's absurd. And the numbers are fake. And I mean, it's so sad. The whole thing is sad because people are dying. It's another strain out there. Every year, but it's like people are just doing this for their social badge, for their hashtag. 24,000 to 64,000 people died of influenza from October 1st to March 21st of 2020. Yeah, no one in this local community, none of the local businesses, no one cared about influenza then. The governor didn't do anything. Died from influenza. That's still a thing, because I was sitting here the other day pondering to myself, where all of the flu, was Corona the flu for the year, and this is just something new, and we couldn't guess the strain, and that's why we're all freaking out? No, we still had influenza. No one did a thing about that. No one showed their social badge and their hashtags during then. Yeah, this is a sad story. We'll just Ignore that. After that rant. Well, here we go. So PFD has responded to numerous calls of gas odor. Calls to Miami County 911 and the Piqua Fire Department led to an odor investigation regarding a strong odor of natural gas on March 30th. During the afternoon hours, a number of callers from the north and central part of Piqua to as far west as Rakestraw Road reported the odor. The Piqua Fire Department was sent to investigate along with Vectren. They tracked the source to a defunct Ethel Mercaptan. I made sure to make sure I knew how to pronounce that before the show. Ethyl mercaptan is used as an odorizer in natural gas and propane. Releases of mercaptan vapors are often mistaken for flammable gases. These vapors are much heavier than air and may travel along the ground long distances with certain weather conditions. The wind on March 30th in the afternoon was blowing directly from the direction of this release. There is no danger of fire or health hazard in release of this nature. The deadline to file and pay City of Troy tax obligations has also been extended. Moving into that, I think that's just where we're all at right now. I think everyone doesn't know what to think of this. I think a lot of people want to believe that this is all for the greater good, and a lot of other people are like, well, I'm still living, waiting for this thing to affect me. I think that's where we're at. I mean, that's some of my personal thoughts right there on that. I think everyone, they've extended the tax deadline to July 15th, but who cares? We're going to extend the stay-in-home on July 15th anyway. That's probably going to happen too. Summer's canceled at this point. So the tax deadline, though, July 15th. Now, some salons are donating in-demand items to TFD, the Troy Fire Department. Lindsay Taylor of Oak and Arrow Beauty Room in Troy unloads more than 36 boxes of donated sanitary gloves and masks at the Troy Fire Department station on Tuesday. Assisting with the unloading are Troy firefighters as well. And that was according to Troy Daily News. They got a picture of that up over there if you want to go take a look at it. The Avenue of Flags, the Troy Noon Optimist Club. One of lifebloods within the Troy Noon Optimist Club is our flag program. For $40, you'll get a 3x5 flag placed in your yard on five major holidays: Memorial Day, Flag Day, July 4th, Labor Day, and Veterans Day. They have a bunch of them up on the levee. Thankfully, I saw some people out there the other day where they were picking up the flags off the ground. It's a windy day. Alan Cappers of the Dayton Daily News here says this program permits our club members to come together in the spirit of camaraderie and shows the community that the Optimist Club is an active civic organization, according to Alan Cappers in the Dayton Daily News. The flag program helps support almost all of our donations to the community by the community, supporting over 900 flags in 2018-2019. Troy Noon Optimist has been able to make a lasting impact with the student population by supporting scholarships along with numerous other gifts and donations. Yeah, here's the restaurant inspection one. Yeah. La Fiesta, no violations. Fazoli's, no violations. Family Dollar, no violations. Needler's Fresh Market, no violations. Kroger, no violations. Yeah, because everyone's they battening down on this. They still have to get customers at the end of the day. Now everyone's heroes. All these people that have been ignored in retail for all these years, now they're heroes. They won't be after this. I'm telling you, everyone will forget about it. They'll be done. It won't be popular to post that they're heroes anymore. I'm telling you right now. I think there's a lot of people going on with their lives, doing the best that they possibly can. I wash my hands, take showers. When I go play on a basketball court or a playground, or if you have kids and you go and do these things, wash their hands, wash your hands. I wonder how many unknown viruses are lurking out there right now, ready to jump on us. I was really hoping to report a lot of news this summer, get things rolling again, but this extension, because tonight would have marked the 2-week point. Okay, I think about 2 weeks in a house and not really being able to go anywhere is only going to go so far. So tonight at 11:59 p.m., we would have been set to be done with this thing and back at it. But they just keep throwing us boogeyman numbers. The toll this will take on the local community, as I think a lot of people aren't looking at that as much as they are looking at the possibility of how many people will die from this thing. But I guess that's just the way this goes. Yeah, the florist is remaining open, though, to serve funeral needs. While many local flower shops have been forced to temporarily shut down, Due to concerns over the potential spread of the coronavirus, Troy's Trojan Florist will remain open with slightly altered operations. The business qualifies as critical in relation to its service to its funerals. According to owner and manager Jules Connor, the Brad Funeral Home is the primary funeral home served by Trojan Florist. And, they're staying open because they serve flowers to an essential business. Funerals. The delivery process itself has also changed. It's not a contact delivery. They take the flowers to the doorstep, they wipe them down with a Clorox wipe, leave them on the doorstep, ring the doorbell, and walk away. That way there's no contact. Oh, man. And the commissioner's office, they were talking about disinfectant. On Thursday, the Board of Miami County Commissioners received updates related to the COVID-19 pandemic, including the extra steps county employees are taking to maintain facilities. Operations and Facilities Department Director Chris Johnson discussed with the commissioners how the county building, this is riveting news, by the way, were disinfected last week, including the following buildings: the safety building, the sheriff's office, administrative, detective areas, the courthouse, Hobart building, the old power plant on Water Street, the job and family services building, the sheriff's training center, the Miami County Transit building. Midwest Commercial Cleaning of Tip City disinfected each of those buildings at a cost of $11,600. The commissioners discussed disinfecting those buildings again in approximately 2 or 3 weeks. Johnson said the cost would be approximately 25% less for a follow-up treatment. Midwest Commercial Cleaning can also do spot treatments for the county if the county decides not to treat all the buildings again. According to the Miami County Emergency Management Agency, Director Joel Smith, the county may be eligible to be reimbursed approximately 75% of costs associated. I don't know who they're getting it from, but all right. Long-term effects here. As we go into week number 3, technically, maybe even week number 4 now, might be on. I've lost count. I haven't been putting X's on the calendars. I'm talking to coconuts now. Now, Edison State is going to offer some bonus terms online for any of the students that might be listening. Edison State has created an extra spring term credit course schedule. This bonus term will begin on March 30th and end on May 23rd, providing a full 8 weeks of online instruction. The courses offered a span of healthcare, degree transfer, computer basics, general education, so forth, so on. Some good news. I do like to see businesses being able to help out in this way. Melissa Dewar, co-owner with her husband Joe of Indian Creek Distillery on Staley Road, displayed bottles of hand sanitizer being produced at the facility because with the recent COVID-19 situation and shortage of many essential items, the Dewars have stepped up to fulfill a need for the sought-after product. Supplies are currently limited. As Dewar said, the current wait is for the bottles and labels, but employees are working to fulfill orders. An online retail order site is currently under construction. And that's it in the news. That's it for the show this week. Got through the stack. If you ever have any opinions during the show, the call-in line is always open while we're live, 937-696-7572. And our Facebook page, facebook.com/Beautiful Troy Show. I did want to talk a little bit about the website. We'll really kind of roll it out next week. We do have the TroyShow.net now, one kind of a vessel, a place where you can all get together and go to our various platforms and get all the information you need about what we're about here, what we're trying to accomplish and do in the local community. If you want to continue the discussion after the show, air it out with local citizens, discuss further than a phone call can do, facebook.com/groups/Troy, Ohio citizens. I think we are all right now in our local communities in a very panicked state. I think there's a lot of people who can't speak their mind due to threat. I think there's a lot of people who speak their mind too quickly. And I think there's a lot of people operating against our interests. It's a very depressing state. We're trying to keep it as lively as possible here. I'm trying to really sift through this and not be too reactionary to things. I think the businesses are doing what they can given the circumstances. I think a lot of them are banding together and to support each other. They're doing what they can. I mean, this is really unprecedented. I mean, this is, to this level, a very unprecedented measure. I've never seen a government or an agency come in. I've only been around 23 years. I've never seen a government agency come in and just take business away. That's the one thing at the end of the day that I really think local business cannot do is shut down. We can't do it. We can do our part, and I give great credit to the businesses for doing their part here and for trying to go along for safety. I do not think this virus is a hoax. I do think there's a lot to it that's different. It's a new strain. We're going to have to get used to it. The world will now have a new strain in it. And it will take time. But I do think that what we need to do in the local community is reopen the businesses. I think the state of Ohio needs to get off this power trip and open the businesses. I think he should increase health inspections if he has the manpower to do it. I'm trying to think of ways, because at the end of the day, in my mind, this is my personal opinion, at the end of the day, in my mind, you cannot shut a business down. That is a no-go. Owning a business, I know how that goes. I can't just stop. A lot of people don't have the funds to do these things. And now they're banking on, the wheels, the cogs of government. Maybe it'll get to them. I hope it does. I hope everything goes over as smoothly as they're saying. I hope the curve gets flattened. I hope this is all worth it at the end. Right now, they're in a position to spin it however they want. They can say it's worth it however they would like to. I do hope all of these things work, and I hope it's all worth it. That chair has been with me for 10 years. Pardon, it gets a little cranky every once in a while. But I think what we should have done is we should have sat down with these people, had these businesses represented, and said, look, acting, we can't shut down. We are more than willing to place these practices to keep the public safe from this virus. But you cannot shut them down at the end of the day. I think we'll all be fine and we'll come out of this. We'll catch you back here next week, Monday, live at 7 p.m. for The Troy Show. Troy's only source of talk radio for local community events. And as always, you're more than welcome to call the show 937-696-7572 anytime that we are live. This is just as much your show as it is mine to host. I have to keep the format here. I've got to keep some opinion and some excitement, but I think this was a deflated week. I think we are finally seeing the issues kind of unfold. I'm I guess, I don't know if I'm really upset too much about the local community's response to things. I think there's just been a lot of panic thrown out there. I'm not saying this isn't serious. I just think there's been a lot of panic thrown out there. A lot of panic. A lot of people out there just making stuff up, unprovable stuff, forcing people's hands. I've been to Walmart a bunch I shouldn't say a bunch, but I mean, I've been there. I've shopped normally. I just keep shopping normally like I have, and I've been finding stuff that I need, and I haven't been panicked. I was at Kroger the other day, and they've got a Kroger up there off 55 there, Market Street or whatever, and they have their paper towels, and they got that sign up that says only one paper product per person. I'm saying, why would I ever buy more than 8 paper towels at once? I could see maybe a bigger family needing 2 packs, but why did all these people buy all this? Well, they were scared the government was going to, so you were scared the government was going to lock you in your houses, so you went to the stores and panicked, and then you caused them to try and lock you in your houses best that they can without actually doing it. It's scary. Sometimes I don't think people stop and think enough. And maybe everyone was scared by this. I'm trying to rationalize this in my head, because I cannot rationalize the impact this has had on the local community. I cannot rationalize in my head that they canceled the Strawberry Festival. While I predicted it in my head, while I was ready for it, while I knew that this summer was going to be unlike any other, I can't rationalize that. And a lot of people will just say it's because they don't want to spread the virus. No, it's because they don't have any money to do the thing with. No one's going to want to show up. This May 1st date, if in fact we get out of here at May 1st, back to life as usual, our miraculous Ohioan efforts have flattened the curve, then no one's going to go back to normal after this. Not yet. Not for quite some time. And now they've already got people scared and ready for fall. Well, we're going to get out of here for tonight. We'll catch you back here next Monday at 7 p.m. as the news unfolds. We got caught up on the news this week. That's a plus. That is a plus. We got caught up on stories from last week. So we got those in there. Hopefully, it's just hard right now to do a show. We're trying to do our best with it because it's impacting the flow of the news cycle. I mean, usually news is pretty negative, but we could do some stuff with it. But right now, we're trying to go out there and find stuff to see. We got a lot of pictures and videos, and we're trying to have some fun with it and keep things lively and kind of keep people not scared too much about this. But we'll find out. We'll catch you back here next week, and this is Troy on Air.